So let me talk about what we can do to help Hispanics go beyond average. I call them the 3 E's: education, entrepreneurship, and engagement. The first one, education, opens doors. I would not be here today without the education that I was able to achieve. Had it not been for my grandmother, who intervened at the right time, at the right place, I would not be able to achieve my dream. Education actually prepares people and students for a future they may not even clearly see. Last week I was at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. And what I saw was simply amazing. There were all sorts of new connected devices, everything from smartphones to tablets, watches, wearable devices, and even the latest generation of connected cars. Who could have imagined that kind of stuff when I was going to college? We couldn't have imagined it. But my education has prepared me to be able to step into that world and understand it. The cellular phone, in fact, when I went through Northern Illinois University, not too far from here, and got my MBA there, the cell phone was just getting started. So the education that I got at NIU helped me to take part in one of the greatest growth industries the world has ever seen, the wireless business. You know, when I went to Florida Atlantic, where I got my engineering degree, I was fortunate enough to get me an honorary doctorate degree at FAU, but that wasn't really what impressed me the most. I sat in that commencement ceremony and I reflected on the fact that when I attended college there, I would have never imagined that such a thing would have ever happened to me. And as I was seeing the students walk by and gather their diplomas, what impressed me the most was the diversity that I saw. I saw young people, I saw mature people, I saw Hispanics, I saw African Americans, I saw every bit that makes America the great country that it is. So whether it's through mentoring, scholarships, or through whatever means are possible at our disposal, I think it's critical that we instill in our youth the importance of getting an education so that their heads can count. Entrepreneurship is one of my favorite areas, and that's the second E. I think that we can make a great difference in this world by teaching entrepreneurship to our youth. That's why I'm proud to have served the last 4 years as chairman of Junior Achievement Worldwide. Junior Achievement prepares young people to get a job, but also to become entrepreneurs. We reach 11 million kids every year in 121 different countries, and we have 400,000 volunteers every year that volunteer to help kids. Why is this important? Because the youth unemployment levels throughout the world are epidemic levels. Let me give you a couple of examples. In Spain, 45% of young people are unemployed. When I was in Barcelona last year at the World Mobile Congress Center, the kids were burning tires in the streets of Barcelona. It was unheard of that I would have ever seen that. But that's what was going on. And the reason? 45% unemployed. In Germany, it's 38%. In the US, it stands at about 18%. And Hispanics are getting close to 20% in the US. I say to people, what if we could not just educate and teach kids to fill a job, but what if we could teach and educate kids to create a job, to start their own company, to do a startup, and to create jobs for others? You know, there's a Chinese proverb that goes something like this: give a man a fish, and he'll eat for a day. Teach him to catch a fish, and he'll eat for the rest of his life. But I say, who wants to eat fish the rest of their lives? And so I want to modify that old saying, modernize it for the modern day, and repeat it to you with entrepreneurship involved. So I say, teach a man or a woman entrepreneurship, and he or she will be able to catch the fish, market the fish, sell the fish, and eat the fish or steak or whatever else they want in life. That's what entrepreneurship is all about. You know, and it's organizations like the Quad Cities Hispanic Chamber that I think are instrumental in promoting Hispanics in the business world and showing them the opportunities before them. I think you can play a huge role. And I think that the Hispanic Chamber here is doing things that make Hispanic heads count. Let me talk about the last one, E, which stands for engagement. I think when people become engaged, when they believe in a vision that is so compelling that they want to get involved. They're so compelling they want to get involved. And our job as leaders is to give young people a vision of the future that is so compelling that they will be willing to break through whatever barriers and obstacles and prejudices to achieve it. We need to help Hispanic youth break free from the stereotypes, the self-imposed barriers, and the limitations imposed by others. And at the same time, giving a compelling view of the world where they can live freely without those barriers. An example of what we do at AT&T with Junior Achievement is as follows. We actually bring students in to our officers where they can shadow an executive or a colleague. And since 2008, we've hosted more than 80,000 students in our offices. I hosted a couple of those young people, and they made a huge impression of me. In fact, my biggest aha moment came in when two young Hispanics came to shadow me. I picked them up at the first floor of our building had 20 floors at the time, and I had the corner office and a glass office on the 20th floor. I picked them up and I got them to my office, and they wouldn't come in my office. They were staring out the window from 20 floors out to the cityscape of Atlanta, and I couldn't get them in my office. Then I realized those kids had never been up an elevator 20 stories. They had never seen the world from 20 stories up, and I wondered what other perspectives they were missing. They just didn't have the opportunity. So I think we have to do whatever we can to help kids see that experience. And I experienced it myself. I remember when I was a high school student, a long, long time ago, I went through the World of Coke in Atlanta. If you've ever been to Atlanta, that's where you go in and they let you sample all the different flavors of Coca-Cola throughout the world. It's a great place. But in looking at that, I saw this picture of a man that seemed like it was 2 stories tall. And I go, who is that guy? And it happened to be Roberto Boisera, the CEO of Coke. And I said, really? Boisera? He said, yes, he's Cuban like you. And at that time, so many years ago, well, if he could be a CEO, then maybe there is hope for me. And so we need to give kids that encouragement that they too can achieve it. In closing, we live in the greatest country on earth, ladies and gentlemen. A country founded on the principles of freedom, democracy, and equality, and a country where the American dream is still very much alive. I think we owe it to this country to help harness the contribution of American Hispanics, not by letting someone count their heads, but by making sure that their heads count. We owe it to the next generation of Hispanic Americans to help them achieve their dream by getting the education they need, the economic acumen they deserve, and having a say in this nation's destiny. I'd like to close with one of my favorite quotes. It is from John Whitehead, and you have to pay close attention to it. Here's the quote. It says, "Children are the living messages we send to a future we will never see." Children are the living messages we send to a future that we will never see. Let's work together to make sure that the children, the messages we send to the future, are prepared to make a difference in the future of America and to help it achieve its greatest highs while paving new opportunities for the children to come. Thank you again for having me here tonight. Thank you very much.